Welcome to the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education.
The regular notice requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act has been complied with in that adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On November the 13th, 2014, notice was mailed to the Courier Post and the Aldea. Notice was also posted on the bulletin board located by the reception desk at the central office and all school building bulletin boards within the district. Roll call.
Okay, Mr. Jose Brito Bueno, Ms. Burley, Ms. Coscarello. Here. Ms. Taisha Munir. Minister Mohammed. Present. Mrs. Reyes Morton. Here. Mrs. Wilson. Present. And Ms. Blackshear.
Here. Can we pledge allegiance to the flag?
Motion to go into
Do I have a motion to go into? Okay, the board will go into closed session to discuss matters of personnel, labor negotiations, sales and leases, safety and security, confidential student matters, and attorney-client privilege. Can I get a motion to go into closed session? Okay. Closed session, it's now 5:40. Okay, Ms. Atwood, Mr. Jose Brito Bueno, Ms. Burley, Ms. Coscarello. Yes. Ms. Munir, Mr. Minister Mohammed.
Yes.
Mrs. Reyes Morton.
Yes.
Mrs. Wilson. Yes. Ms. Blackshear.
Yes.
Okay, the board will return at 6:30.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion to come out of close? Oh, we did.
So you can move to the superintendent's report.
Okay, I'd like to move to the superintendent report.
Yeah, so we're going to move down to the front row. We're going to bring the screen down. I want to begin by, well, first of all, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I want to begin by just stating we appreciate everyone's flexibility. As you all know, we canceled the last board meeting due to inclement weather. So again, thanks for your flexibility. There are three big incidents that I wanted to begin by sharing, and I think that a number of you all are aware of them. First, there was a small fire in the Woodrow Wilson High School cafeteria, and the incident led to the cafeteria being remediated over the course of a few days and cleaned, and it's now in good shape, and everything's back to the way it was. And I want to thank our staff for dealing with that. We had a pipe burst at Camden High School, causing some issues with the heating system. And although the heat was back up and running quickly, the severe weather we were experiencing caused the building to take a lot longer than usual to warm back up. And we tried to deal with it as quickly and responsively as we could, but nonetheless, it is a challenge we've inherited and a challenge that we're dealing with. And then lastly, I think a lot of you all heard about what happened at Cream School. So on Monday of President's Day weekend, so we were out of school, there was a pipe burst there that triggered the fire alarm, which then triggered the fire pump. And before the fire department arrived, about 60,000 gallons of water, starting in the third floor, spread through the building, down throughout the rest of the building. And the building is currently inoperable, and we have worked incredibly closely with some of the nearby school communities to be able to situate those students and families. And so I want to thank the Bonsall, Creative Arts, and Hatch school communities for receiving the Cream kids and ensuring that they have a place to be. And all the credit goes to our staff who has been working around the clock, the Cream staff, the Cream principal, Haywan Gehring, who's been just phenomenal through this. And it's a lot of hard work, and all the kids are well situated, and we're all good now. But it's a challenge that we'll get through, and hopefully the building will be back up and running over the next few weeks or months. We're still waiting word on how long it'll take. These situations are certainly never ideal, and you can never expect them. And it is a reminder of the state of our facilities and the work that we've taken on, whether through School Development Authority funding or the Urban Hope Act and Renaissance schools, to be able to provide higher quality facilities, because all of our kids deserve high quality facilities. And right now, too many of them are in buildings that are suffering from the issues that I just noted. So I know the presentation still isn't up, so I just want to begin with some news about the month of January. Again, we weren't able to meet together. The month of January was School Board Appreciation Month. I don't think most people knew that, but the month of January was School Board Appreciation Month. And unfortunately, we get to celebrate our board members for their support. This group, I don't think everyone fully sees, realizes, and appreciates what they're doing to support our kids and families. A lot of it is behind-the-scenes support, and a lot of it is sometimes on the front lines, but it's not always viewed and observed and appreciated by everyone. So I just want to take a very brief moment and acknowledge our board members and share a few anecdotes about some of the work they've done. Ms. Munir and Ms. Blackshear hosted back-to-school block parties in their respective neighborhoods. Mr. Muhammad, Ms. Burley, and Ms. Morton hosted school information card feedback sessions, which were invaluable. Ms. Wilson works closely with the District Parent Advisory Council, as you all know, and was recently honored by the Camden Schools Foundation. Ms. Coscarella, Ms. Wilson, and Mr. Brito Bueno and Ms. Morton hosted school-by-school data meetings where we had a frank conversation about our NJS results and our high school graduation results. Ms. Coscarella recently helped host a wonderful event through CUBE where we honored MedEast and had a pretty frank dialogue about Ferguson and its effect on race relations today. Mr. Brito Bueno donated door prizes to the parent fireside chat we recently had. Ms. Wilson and Ms. Atwood represented Camden at the Advocacy Institute conference in Washington, D.C. Ms. Blackshear was on site at H.B. Wilson to support families and staff that were displaced by Cream School. We had our family meeting at Cream, and Ms. Wilson took time out of her work schedule to go out there and check in on the families and check in on the staff members. Look, I could keep going on and on and on. This board, they're fearless. They've shown a lot of leadership. It's certainly been a time of change in Camden over the last year and a half, and they have at times had difficult conversations about what change means and really pushed us to think hard about the impact of what we're doing has on this respective community here in Camden. So I just want to thank them for their honesty. I want to thank them for their leadership and their courage and just everything they're doing in service of our families. So we really appreciate it. Thank you all. We are going to get a brief presentation from Dan Delvecchio, who is joining us to talk about transportation. So with no further ado, and as we continue to work through some of the technical difficulties, I'm going to introduce Mr. Delvecchio. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank the board for allowing me to present tonight. It is coincidental that we are here with the incident that happened at Cream School, but timely as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about transportation and some other things that we do. My board has asked me to visit every school district in Camden County. As the superintendent of the Camden County Educational Services Commission, I represent every school district in Camden County. It's with particular pride that I stand here tonight because I was born and raised in Camden, and what we do at the Camden County Ed Services, Camden is our #1 priority, both the students and the services that we provide. So I want you to know that we work very hard to bring forth your mission of progress. We are governed by a board of directors and a representative assembly that's made up of one board member or superintendent from every district in Camden County. So we operate just like a school district. In fact, we are a school district, but we don't operate a school. Everything that we do is shared services throughout the county. Our mission is to support you in fulfilling your mission. So to the extent that we can provide services that allow you to meet your goals, that's what we do. And we try to do that in a cost-effective manner because shared services allows us a better pricing model for school districts. What's most important to know about that is we do not take any taxpayer funding, so any local taxpayer funds go directly to the school district. All of our funding comes from the state of New Jersey or the federal government, so that's important for you to know. The services that we provide, and essentially our strategy is to collaborate with the school districts, and the Cream School situation is one of those situations where you'll understand that collaborative model works very well. To get buses to the schools within a day and have those students all transported to their new schools was quite a feat, and it's a reflection of the effort that the representatives from Camden City School District put into that problem solving. In addition to transportation, which is our largest service, we transport about 10,000 students every day. The majority of those students are from Camden City. 2 years ago, we were asked to provide the transportation services from Camden, and I believe all reports are that we're doing a pretty good job. But we're not without problems, they're not without challenges, but it's more about the solutions that we bring to bear. In addition to that, we also serve the children of Camden City in the charter schools, the Renaissance schools, and the non-public schools. So the other service that we talk about is what's known as Public Law 192, 193, where we provide services for children that are eligible under that public law for remedial or compensatory education in the non-public schools. So all of the Diocese of Camden schools, Camden Forward, Urban Promise, we supply teachers and speech therapists to those schools for those children that are eligible for services. We also provide child study team services for any public school district or charter school where we have either contracted per diem, per month, per year specialists, or we may do evaluations from time to time for a public school where they need overflow support. We do over 1,000 evaluations a year between the public and the non-public schools for children that are found eligible for special education services. We also have one other area. We are the local education agency representative for the Gloucester Township School District, where the Camden County Juvenile Detention Center is located, and we provide the educational services for those young adults that are residents at the detention center. They are entitled to the same education as every other student. We provide site supervision, teachers, and instructional assistants for the Juvenile Detention Center. As we move forward in the direction that we're going, we are looking to expand our services and to provide more opportunities for school districts to get cost-effective solutions to their problems. It looks like the direction that we're going in is to provide substitute teachers and staffing, because we think with a nonprofit model we can do that a little better from a cost point of view than the for-profit companies, and so we're going to venture down that path and see what we can do to provide more services. I want to thank you for allowing me to speak tonight, and particularly the Board of Education. Have a great evening.
All right, so we are trying to do the best with a difficult situation with the presentation. So these lights are obviously affecting the presentation on the main screen. We can't figure out a way to move them up or down, so we are now projecting on this wall. Sorry that you have to crane your heads, and sorry that it's tilted. It's better than a third of the screen being blocked. I just want to quickly mention to our board members, we have a certificate to honor each of you. We're going to give them to you once we're back on stage rather than going through it up here. All right, I will begin by quickly here we go. We had our Camden Commitment anniversary a couple of weeks ago now. And I'm not going to spend too much time because I know that this group is pretty up to speed. We are at our latest quarterly update for all the 5 promises. The first promise being safe schools, safe students. We launched a 5-point security plan. We had a high-tech security pilot that is being in the process of implementing at Camden High and Woodrow Wilson, a number of other initiatives. Most recently, we announced in 6 schools positive behavior pilots through the PIBIS program and Second Step. And all initiatives are underway, thanks to many partnerships that we have through federal grants. 21st century school buildings. I think everyone here is familiar with the announcement we had not too long ago on Camden High. I won't get into that. But in addition to that, we've submitted our 5-year facility plan, which includes renovation plans for district schools. We announced the laptops that we've deployed to our schools, not just for park readiness, but to just ensure that our schools have the technology they deserve. We increased broadband access at a number of our schools where that was lacking. So as you can see, there are a few other initiatives over the past year that we're proud of. So we are making progress on this front. But clearly, as you heard from the announcements early on at some of our facilities, we have a lot of work to do given the state of some of our older buildings. Student support services. We've been fortunate through a partnership that we announced earlier this year with Food Bank of South Jersey and Center for Family Services to provide wraparound services to more students. We've launched a mentoring program, a lot of, I think, important partnerships on this front as far as improving student services. Again, we have a long ways to go. These are just signs of progress, though acknowledging that whether it's special education or bilingual instruction, there's still a lot of hard, complex work underway, and we will troubleshoot as those issues come up. Great teaching and learning, that begins with providing better support to our principals and to our teachers, and we now provide, as you can see, beginning in October 2014, we made a full and comprehensive commitment for one-to-one weekly coaching for every district teacher and principal. Before, a lot of that coaching and support was very inconsistent and wasn't always as supportive to their needs, and so we're very pleased with the progress we're making there. Of course, as part of improving the quality of instruction for students and families across the entire city, we have been able to partner with 3 new neighborhood Renaissance schools led by Master and Common in KIPP. And so there are a number of other initiatives also noted here. I'd say the pre-K is of note because our percentage of eligible students that are now enrolled in pre-K across the entire city is now up to 96%. Last time we shared this with you, it was 93%. That number is continuing to go up. It's an almost 20% increase since the time I was appointed, and we're very, very proud of that. The earlier the intervention, the better likelihood that student has better life outcomes later on in their careers. Serving parents is a constant topic of conversation. I won't get into this. I think most people are familiar with these announcements as far as community school coordinators in every school, which we're very pleased with. We're going to talk a little bit later today about our school information card designs. We solicited a lot of feedback earlier this fall in 2014, and we're eager to release those school information cards to get more information out about all of our schools in Camden, all school types. And central office effectiveness, we took a revenue shortfall, a significant revenue shortfall on last year and made the tough decisions that were effectively delayed in prior years. We transformed our central office to shift more resources down to the school level. We basically cut the central office in half so that resources were prioritized at the school level, and just other training opportunities that we've also been able to provide for our staff in the central office in order to better support our schools. So the next item on our agenda, and this is based on feedback we heard from community members here in prior board meetings and from our board members themselves, and that is a more comprehensive discussion about school-based youth services. School-based youth services is in a number of our schools. It's for the most part funded through federal grants, and it's really part of our promise of better serving our families. I mean, fundamentally, school-based youth services is a resource to our families and to our students of need. And I'm pleased to be able to introduce Andrea Amici, who runs School-Based Youth Services, to be able to walk us through this presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Excuse me. As we mentioned, that School-Based Youth Services is a program that is located in some of our schools, but not all. We are actually funded by state funds out of DCF, which is Division of Children and Families, and they fund 2 high school programs, 2 middle school programs, 2 family school programs, and 1 program at Creative Arts Morgan Village. The other locations are funded by federal dollars, and they're located at Bonsall and at Cooper's Point. So when people say, why isn't school-based in all of our schools, it's not there based on the funding that allots to those specific locations. But we do try to expand supports when needed, when it is requested at other locations that they need some additional supports. We do send teams out. We also do workshops and presentations. We try to definitely get across to our family support services by expanding our family nights to our other locations throughout the district, so we include the other schools and the other services. So I do. Okay, thank you. All right, so, excuse me. There it is, that you're getting ready to see some of the things that I just spoke of. So our mission is for us to help our adolescents navigate their adolescent years healthy and drug-free, graduate, and continue their education, whether they go into the workforce or whether they go on continuing their education. Being mindful that we are a program of 79 throughout the state of New Jersey. We are the largest funded program in the city, in the state of New Jersey. So that is really, really good for our area. There are locations, and they really focus on high schools and middle school age students. The elementary component, over several years of doing research, they realized that school-based youth services is needed in the elementary level, but that's building and growing. So we don't have that many components in the elementary level. They are looking about funding those areas. Our goal is to enhance the emotional, social well-being of our students, and that's very important. When you're emotionally and socially supported, then you can focus academically and achieve and be able to focus on your areas of academics. Okay, so we have core services. Our core services are mental health counseling, substance abuse prevention, education. What we do is we go inside to the classrooms, we do presentations, we use evidence-based curriculum such as Too Good for Drugs, Too Good for Violence, Get Real About Drug and Violence. So we do presentations mainly in the health classes, and then we do get a chance to go into other classes because the curriculums that we utilize allow us to match our supports to our core standards of education services. So then we do preventive health services. One of our biggest areas is our teen pregnancy prevention program. We provide child care in both high schools, both of the high schools, Camden High and Woodrow Wilson. People say, oh, it's a pregnancy program, but it's actually a pregnancy prevention program. We are encouraging them not to have additional pregnancies until they graduate from high school. We support them with parenting skills and life skills. We do child care on site. Their children have to be enrolled in school that day. And then in addition to that, we provide transportation to and from school so that they can make sure that they can get to school with their babies. Our programs are 12 months. And so we work throughout the summer. We do learning supports, whether it's advocating for our students, whether it's connecting them to some homework resources, helping them with tutorial supports. And we work closely with parents, the child study team, so that we can ensure our students are getting the supports that they need. Employment readiness skills, that is based really in our high school component. And then we do introduce it at the middle school level, talking about the importance of employment, how you carry yourself, how you may dress for an interview, filling out applications, connecting students, even talking about entrepreneurships. And we partner with community agencies in PRUP and also CCYD so that they can get the educational supports that they need around employment so that they can be marketable when they go look for jobs. Primary medical linkage, this area is an area where we struggle somewhat because when we're looking for nurse practitioners to work with us in our school environment, sometimes it's difficult to secure that, but we have been successful. We would like to eventually move forward where we can hire someone full-time to work as a nurse practitioner so that they can be on board with us. But right now, we do contract services. Our recreation supports are Things that we focus on to do exposures with our families. We do basketball trips. We do different activities in the summertime so that we're meshing our summer program with recreational services. And information referral, we can't do it alone. Our staff are skilled and qualified. However, sometimes we have to reach out to our community to provide additional supports for our students and our families. So we do a lot of referrals and connecting with supports that way. As our superintendent said, that we are working towards meeting and working in compliance with our promises, Promise 4, where we are serving parents. We know that our services focuses on building parental resiliency, connecting social skills, giving our students and their families the support that they need in the time of need. So if it's something going on and they need some support, whether it's connecting with a community resource, whether it's coming into the family home and doing a home visit to provide resources, we know that when you get your needs met, when you need them, then the outcome is better for you. And so we do that through family nights, parent education workshops. We did a big kickoff with Dads Take Your Kids to School. We're hoping that that will continue. We did a carnival. And so with the Dads Take Your Kids to School, that's a big state initiative, and we're glad that we are a part of that in our district and serving all of our schools. We listen to the feedback from our students as well as our parents. We used to, in the past, do father-son nights and mother-daughter nights. But as we looked at our evaluations, our mothers who had sons and no daughters felt left out, and our dads who were really working with their daughters and had no sons, they felt left out. So now this year we did a new initiative and we're calling it Family Affairs. So we're inviting everyone out, and what we'll do is at those evenings we break out into gender-specific activities. So we had our first one a couple of weeks ago here at HB Wilson, and we have one coming up in March. So it is a family affair instead of a mother, daughter, father, son. And, okay, thank you. We partner with CHAMP and other agencies to do test-taking skills and study skills, because right now that's very important to the academic success of our students. So we do partner with other agencies to help build that skill set in our students. Job readiness, we spoke about. Crisis prevention, we really refer out for crisis prevention, but we do de-escalating situations, and then we refer to it's called Twin Oaks for services with that. This lists some of our activities. I'm not sure if you can see it well, but I basically discussed it as we were going through the slides. So it's our Partners in Parenting is for our adolescent parents. We're located at Woodrow Wilson and Camden High. Again, it's 12 months. It's really to empower our teen parents so that they can continue their education, not drop out of school. It's for our teen fathers and for our teen mothers, and we have a component that we expanded to our pregnant teens to get them involved so that we don't lose them in the transition of becoming parents. Helping everyone through reading is a HEARS. That is a federal grant that we were awarded in October, and it's a literacy grant. So we're doing literacy work, which is also supporting our children academically. We're doing preschool components as well as high school components. So we are expanding. The curriculums are Too Good for Drugs, Too Good for Violence, Making Proud Choices. Our Junior Human Relation Commissioners, that's a leadership group, and that works very well at all of our sites. It's about 15 students per school. We do youth summit conferences so that they can be exposed to civic service activities and learning, giving back, and then that they can build on their leadership skills. One of our components there is our summer program. Again, we are 12 months. We're required to have a 4-week summer program for our youth transitioning from 8th grade to high school, as well as from our elementary to middle. And that will conclude my presentation. If you would like to get a copy of the presentation, I can make sure that you get that. I will provide my email address so that you can have additional information. And if you have any questions, I can do a follow-up with you.
Thank you, Ms. Amitri. So the next item we wanted to talk to you all about was the Park and Common Core information sessions that we had. So according to our staff survey, a lot of our teachers, about 80% of them, feel informed about Common Core, but clearly we need to create more opportunities to ensure that people are asking us questions and we're getting the basic information out to families, most notably. And so we held a number of different family workshops. We've had a few different public service announcements on CCSD-TV, Channel 19, done some informational handouts, and there's a wealth of resources on our website as well. So, I would say that in general, the conversations at these community meetings were not a huge surprise to me per se, in that there is confusion, there is a lot of anxiety, it's very real, and it's our job within the school district to ensure that we're addressing those anxieties and we're making sure those questions are being answered. So about 75 parents and community members were able to join the last couple of sessions, and the questions centered around the timing of park testing, why the district is transitioning to park testing, what students will be required to take as far as the park test goes, and what the district has been doing to better prepare for it. Those are the types of issues, and the questions are more in the specifics around what subjects and who's taking what and what date and so forth. So I won't get into the nitty-gritty here, but what I can tell you is that we are officially, as of the end of today, we've completed our 3rd day of park testing. And so far, the testing has occurred at our 2 comprehensive high schools. And there was only one technical glitch to report at this point, and that's actually a statewide technical glitch that was as a result of the Pearson software from the state vendor. And that was actually quickly resolved, but it was not anything specific to Camden. And we're very pleased to say that as far as the execution of the test and implementation of the test, it all went very smoothly, and we haven't had any issues. Clearly, it will be a challenge for us as we adjust to a longer test, a test that is on a computer, a test that doesn't assess just skill-based instruction, but assesses the ability of a student to think critically, and it will really test students in that sense. And so there will be challenges that we will continue to grapple with, but as far as our ability to administer the test and the ability to get out and answer all the questions, I feel as though we're in a good place. We will continue to open up opportunities for our families to be able to ask us questions. We actually recently, last week, held a teacher roundtable, and I don't know, given we missed the January board meeting, if everyone heard about this, but we wanted the opportunity for teachers to be able to more directly share their questions, feedback, concerns to myself and some of our senior staff in the Division of School Support. I was joined by our Deputy Superintendent, Sean Gallagher, and a number of other staff members, our Chief Talent Officer, Emily Nielsen. And we have heard a lot from our teachers that we, as a district, have created numerous opportunities for families and community members to engage, but teachers don't always get that opportunity to give us that direct feedback. We obviously get a lot of that feedback through our principals, but a lot of times teachers obviously want a forum so they can, as educators directly interacting with the district, share very candid thoughts and feedback. So we had 22 teachers participate, and they were nominated by a combination of principals, members of our school support team, and the Camden Education Association with Robert Farmer. And I'd say that the major discussion topics, and I don't think it'll surprise anyone here, but curriculum and assessments were really the top concern. As far as what are the plans for curriculum heading into next school year, the interim assessments that are happening combined with park assessments and some anxiety there. We heard a lot about from the teachers how we can better engage families at their respective schools, and we heard a lot about their commitment to providing one-to-one support for all kids and ensuring that they have the resources and support they need to support all of their kids. And so we're going to continue to meet monthly with this group, and I'm just pleased to say that we were able to hold our first meeting last month. We also have a student roundtable with 35 students participating, and that's so we can open up opportunities for not just our advisory board reps who are phenomenal ambassadors for their respective high schools, but to allow some other students to be able to participate as well. School information cards. So I mentioned that we've done a round of engagement as far as surveys to tell us from community members, not just district parents, but all parents, what qualities in their mind makes up a great school. And we want to put all of that information onto one card that talks about a school's environment, its academic performance, and a host of other pieces of information. And pleased to announce that we'll, in the coming 2 weeks, share out the school information cards at the school level, and beginning in March, we will share out the school information cards for the rest of the community. So they'll be publicly available in the month of March. And based on that feedback, we made a lot of changes. So we shared a draft school information card to solicit some more feedback. And so we made a few changes, such as we are now adding the name of each school's community school coordinator that supports with the direct communication with families on the school information card so families can see that. We added the name of the neighborhood onto a map so that's clear. We use just simpler, clearer language as far as the academic performance section goes, because I know a lot of times the data can be hard to understand. A few other changes that we made, I know you can barely see it up here, so I'm just going to read over it. A lot of families wanted to know what are the uniform colors for each school as they do a lot of their school shopping. So we actually added school uniform colors. We added information about the types of special education and bilingual and ESL programs based on the feedback that we heard so that families can understand that. We are adding more information about issues such as student retention and mobility. There are some concerns that we've heard about certain schools losing large numbers of students. And maybe that's because a school may be taking inappropriate action and ushering kids to the door when they shouldn't be, or maybe families are choosing to leave that school. And so we want to make sure that information is readily available so that we're very transparent about the way students are enrolling into our schools. So a number of other changes, and again, we will be able to share these out to the broader community in just a few weeks in March. Lastly, before we just get into some quick district highlights, I want to take a moment and talk about catchment maps. So catchment maps being the zones that community members live in as far as where you are zoned for elementary school, middle school, and high school. In the past, the district created a large spreadsheet that took into account addresses and where those addresses were then zoned to for again, elementary, middle, and high school. What we heard was that this spreadsheet was tough to access, it was really cumbersome, and it was a lot of times missing certain addresses in certain parts of the city. So we've partnered with CamConnect, which is a local nonprofit that does a lot of data analyzing and data gathering. In our enrollment office, they've created a catchment map for all of our district school boundaries so that families can better understand, again, where they are zoned. So this is, of course, a map that you're not going to be able to fully see from your seats, but we have printed here, and it will be available online. And this is now the new catchment areas for elementary schools. Again, before, a lot of times you could live in a certain block that wouldn't actually be on the spreadsheet, so you wouldn't actually know where you're supposed to go, and you'd have to call the central office, and maybe the phone call wouldn't get returned. So we're trying to just make sure that everybody is clear about what catchment area they live in. Same thing we did here for middle schools, and same thing for high schools. So we have the maps available, and this is part of our effort to get as much information out as possible as far as enrollment policies go. And the last note I'll make here is that we have a lot of special transfers. I don't think that's new news to the folks here at the board meeting. And a lot of times a special transfer may be attending a school and they don't live in that catchment area. But going forward, I just want to note that when drawing these new catchment maps, that any students currently attending a district-operated school who does not live in that catchment area will be considered part of the school's attendance area, because those students have enrolled in those schools and they certainly have a right to remain at those schools. All right, just a few district highlights. As always, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're trying to share out as much information as we can. It is Black History Month, of course, and there have been a number of events that have happened already, and since we weren't able to meet in January, we couldn't properly advertise them, but at Woodrow Wilson High School, they had Take the A Train to Harlem, which was a Black History Month celebration on the 18th. And last Thursday, Creative Arts Morgan Village students joined over 50 other high school vocal majors and participants at a workshop with a Grammy Award-winning jazz musician. And that was at the Mann Center in Philadelphia. And on the 27th, I want to make clear everyone knows that at Creative Arts Morgan Village, they're going to hold an event at 6 p.m. To celebrate Black History Month, and that is open to any and all. For Medi students, a handful of them got together and commemorated Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech. A few of those students actually participated in the CUBE event with Ms. Coscarella, and a few of them are actually on our student advisory board. And so they pulled together a poem and a number of other ways to commemorate the speech, and just wanted to share that out here. This was a reading program that we have at Yorkship with the Camden County Police Department, and just pleased to say that the Camden County Police Department has partnered well with our schools and our students. We recently at Wiggins were able to work with a local organization that provided the opportunity to interact with Olympic gold medalists. So it's just it's a partnership program where students get to have a motivational speaker come and get to know them. And in this case, it was the Charles Schwab CEO, who's an all Ivy League football player, David Patrick, and he spoke with the sixth graders. A couple other quick announcements. We want to acknowledge Principal Keith Miles from Woodrow Wilson. He was asked by the U.S. Department of Education to join in a small group gathering of other principals nationwide to sit down with Secretary Arnie Duncan, Secretary of Education, to talk about school improvement and efforts underway and where we're seeing some traction. So we're very pleased with the fact that he was selected to join in that conversation. A few athletic accomplishments to note. The Lady Panthers in track recently were named the 2015 Indoor Shuttle Hurdle State Champions. So a big congrats to Coach Satterfield, Coach Chris, Coach Duran, and the Lady Panthers. And the picture in the middle on the far right, we had two Panther male basketball players who joined the prestigious 1,000 Point Club. And so that is Jamal Holloway and Brad Hawkins. Brad Hawkins, it was reported in the Enquirer, the second player in the history of the state of New Jersey that has both 100 points in basketball and 100 receptions in football, which is a big deal. The only other person that got that is someone who played defensive back for the Florida Gators, which happened about 15 years ago, so it's a big accomplishment. And lastly, we have our retirements to honor, and we'll do that once we come back up on stage. I'm going to allow Ms. Wilson to acknowledge those who have tendered their retirement. Thank you all.
Okay. Are you ready for her announcement?
Yes, please.
This month's retirements, we would like to recognize Ms. Karen Bayon, school psychologist, Special Services Department for 37 years of service. Mr. Kenneth Fisher, teacher of special education at Hatch Family School, 25 years and 5 months. Darren Harris, teacher of phys ed and health, Yorkshire Elementary School, 13 years, 8 months. Fern Love, teacher of special education at Sharp Elementary School, 31 years and 6 months. Lillian Logopool, security officer at Brim Medical Arts High School, 27 years and 8 months. Alvis Marcus, teacher of English, Brim Medical Arts High School, 25 years and 4 months. Ramona Martinez, paraprofessional A, Coopers Point Family School, 40 years and 5 months. Corlette Mays, Ed Media Specialist at Brim Medical Arts High School, 25 years. Robin Monteith, teacher of health and phys ed, Creative Arts Medical Village Academy, 23 years. Miriam Ortiz, teacher of music, Creative Arts, Morgan High School, 25 years. Kathy Shinova Robinson, teacher of elementary, Cooper Point Family School, 30 years and 6 months. Alwyn Taylor, teacher of mathematics, H.B. Wilson Elementary School, 8 years and 5 months. Deborah Taylor, teacher of English, Hatch Family School, 8 years and 4 months. At this time, the Camden City Board of Education, the Advisory Board, would like to thank each and every one of our retirements who have given time and service with our children in this Camden School District. And we thank you for everything that you have done, not only for our children, but for the community. Thank you.
Ms. Costarella, you can make your announcement.
Thank you. As the superintendent noted to you, we had a very special event happen here in Camden City in our district. It was a national broadcast. Actually, it went beyond the United States to Canada and some other areas where there was a commemoration of, excuse me, Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech. And I was contacted by a civil rights attorney who was coordinating this, and he asked if I knew of a school in Camden that could be one of 5 schools that would be featured for a broadcast around the country. I fortunately was able to access Med East High School, and their question, each school was given a question, and these were schools like schools in Ferguson, Missouri, Brooklyn, New York, Tampa, Florida, and our students created a rap, a poem, and a paper, and I think we all have copies of that. Tanya, we should have all been getting them now. Our students were outstanding. They presented themselves beautifully. They even got telephone calls from around the country asking for a copy of their rap and their poem and their paper. Their responses were creative and thoughtful. And I particularly want to laud our principal, Mr. Jenkins, and their teachers, Andrew Weinberg and Brendan Witcher. The students were also featured on WMMR Public Radio, National Public Radio, and they were outstanding representatives of our district. So again, I wanted to call out special attention and recognition to them. They made us all very proud for our district and our city. And particular thanks go to those students. And, well, she's not here, but one of them is our school representative. Thank you, Ms. Blackshear.
Thank you. I would like to make several announcements. First of all, to Ms. Ametri, wonderful job putting this package together. A lot of our parents and teachers do not know all the services that school-based youth services provide. Thank you very much, and this will be a good information brochure, especially for our distressed families that need a lot of the service that your organization provides. Thank you very much. Second of all, I would like to talk about Creative Arts Morgan Village Academy. Our choir have been asked to come to Poland. What I'm asking is, I'm not soliciting, but if you can, would you help donate to that cause? I personally am. So they're going to Krakow, Poland, for a choir competition. It's June 10th through the 16th, 2015. So any support that they can get, please provide the support. You can't hear me? Okay. Okay. We will get y'all, you will get them information to where they can send or contact someone to give donations.
Yes.
Thank you. Third of all, February the 26th, which is this Thursday, we have Savior Day, the birth anniversary of founder of the Nation of Islam, Minister Wallace Muhammad, at 6 o'clock. So anyone would like to attend that, please do. The last event is Wednesday, The mayor is giving her State of the City address. It's going to be at the aquarium, and I just want to basically say that at 3 o'clock at the aquarium, our mayor, Red, will be giving her State of the City address. So thank you very much.
District for supporting creative arts Morgan Village and their continued, professional development as it relates to them traveling abroad and, statewide, and, it means a lot to them. So thank you for your continued support.
Who has been very instrumental for our students get exposure in and out of this country, not just in the United States, but they've gone abroad many times. So we want to thank her, and we're going to miss her when she's gone.
Yeah. She's going to retire.
Retire.
Thank you, Superintendent. Okay. Are there any questions on the superintendent superintendent report or the business report from the board? Seeing none. Superintendent. Do we have to sign in? You have to sign in for speakers? No, I just wanted to prepare.
Okay. So before we move on to public commentary, I was just informed that there were some mistakes on the Division of Town and Labor Relations report as part of the superintendent's report. So I do hereby approve tonight's superintendent's agenda and business agenda items with the exception of the Division of Town and Labor Relations report. The corrected report will be on the district's website shortly. I want to make very clear, we're not adding anything to the report, so there will be no new items that we're adding, but there were some mistakes, and we do need to amend those mistakes, and it will be publicly available as soon as those have been addressed.
I'm sorry, Superintendent, but Ms. Atwood would just like to give a 2-minute render. Well, she wants to speak about her Washington trip. Only going to be 2 minutes.
Okay.
I attended the National School Boards Association Conference in Washington, D.C. from January 31st to February the 4th. And for a long time, I guess I thought because our district has so many problems that I took it personal. But I want you to know that throughout the United States, every school district was 44 states were represented at this conference, and the National School Boards Association is doing everything that they can to help us regain control of our monies and our district. And they have a House Rule 5 that says that they're trying to eliminate more than 65 ineffective and duplicative and unnecessary programs that was handed down to us through No Child Left Behind, and they're doing everything that they can to help us regain and place our monies where they need to be placed and not where the federal government says that they need to be replaced. And one thing, I have copies here that I can leave on the table so that you can familiarize yourself with some of the changes that they're trying to make. But it's so important for parents to get involved with your legislators, get involved with your city council, send your concerns to whomever you think that can be beneficial. But if you don't say anything, then they don't know what you need. And that's the thing that I could recommend from this conference, is that with all those people that attended, people are concerned from every state of the United States about No Child Left Behind, about the park, and they're doing everything they can to delay the implementation of the park for 3 years if they can. Everything that they can, okay, to help us get ready so that our children can be successful when we have to take that test and it counts. Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to say, on behalf of the school district, this is the second time since Paymon has been our superintendent that before going to the conference, there is homework that has to be done. So that information is given to Paymon and his staff they give that information to us, and then we take it down to our senators and congressmen. So we met with Senator Cory Booker, and that picture actually from all of us throughout the state of New Jersey that was there, that was part of the delegation. That picture is in this month's school notes, so you'll see that soon. I made a copy in your packet. We also met with Senator Menendez's staff, and we met with Congressman Norcross. So the thing becomes, all of us throughout this country are working and dealing with the same issues. So when we come together, we go through advocacy, and then we come back and we go on a hill, and every one of us goes to meet with our Congress and senators. It's not the first time. This is something that through New Jersey school boards, you are recommended through the executive board of New Jersey school boards to be a part of that. So that's how that comes about. The issues that we talked about, just to give you the titles, but I will find a way to work along with our parents, because every time I go away and come back, we give updates to the parents and give them the information. There's so much information to be given out, it's not possible to do it today. But we talked about this, support the E-rate. We talked about the charter schools that are publicly funded. And we gave out information on the Healthy Hunger-Free Schools Act. After we, 2 years ago, went to our advocacy training, Camden then was able to give free lunch, free breakfast, and then we started with the dinner program from that. The reauthorization of individuals with disabilities education, known as the IDEA. Federal funding, we're asking that they will actually give the federal funding to our school districts instead of the federal government and the state having control over that, so that our school districts can put the funding where we need it to be to help our students the most. The ESEA, which was started, I believe it was 2006, and it goes back to what they're actually doing now is they're working on that. There has been some change since we've gone forward, and I will have that full report when I give it at the for the parents and the community. We talked about funding for Head Start and pre-K, because for a long time we were the only district or districts that had funding for our preschool children, because we understand how important that is after going through the piece with Abbott. So a lot of districts outside of the urban area were trying to get the funding so that our children, because they don't have full-day kindergartens, but when we talk to our legislators, we talk to them and let them know that's how important it is, because we're seeing the difference when our children get in third grade and they have to take those tests. It's instrumental. So this year they have now given funding out to all of the districts so that they can get kindergarten. So it's not going to affect us having to fight that anymore. And we're urging Congress to reject vouchers. Thank you.
Mr. Muhammad.
Can you hear me? Yes. I just wanted to thank the superintendent for acknowledging the advisory board members with the certificate. And I just want to say to the rest of the advisory board members, starting with Madam President, Madam Vice President, and the rest of the advisory board members, it's been an honor being the latest board member to join. It's been an honor to serve and to learn from the things that you do, and thanks for acknowledging us. We appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I would like to say thank you to the Camden School Foundation for finding or thinking that I was worthy to be mentioned, honorable mention as a board member for the Camden City School District. I've been serving since 1997. I have become a master board member, and I continue to trek forward on behalf of our students and our parents, because the ESEA, the Title I, all of those areas for disabilities for our children, those are areas that we have to fight for funding and make sure that that Title I grant money, Part A, is being utilized properly for our children, and advocacy on behalf of our parents. Thank you.
You want to say if the student advisory board members?
Do the Student Advisory Board have any comments or anything they would like to share?
Hi, I'm from Creative Arts Morgan Village Academy. My name is Cameron Carter, and I'm a junior. I have two concerns with our school. My first concern is our interim assessments. Our performing arts teachers are getting notified about it at a late notice, 2 days before. So they just want a little more of a heads up on it, because it's hard to make up the quiz one day and then the next day give us the quiz, and we just learned it. My second concern is our ninth graders. They don't have a math teacher for their math lab class, and they had a sub for a couple of months. But on the other hand, we are having our Black History Show on Friday, the 27th at 6 o'clock. Our band is on their way back from Texas, and they did a very good job. And as you already know, we had a master class with Al Jarreau, and that went very well. And it was band members, vocal members, and some dance majors. So, yeah. Yes, I'm in the Black History Show. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm a senior from Woodrow Wilson High School. My name is Larios, of course. There's actually two things that I want to say. The Black History Month probation on February 18th was actually moved because of the weather condition. So I believe it's this Thursday coming up. That's fine. But if anything, I'll let you know. Another thing, I believe the mayor is supposed to be coming up to the aquarium, I believe. I believe it's actually moved Wednesday, because the JLTC program from Woodrow Wilson and Camden High, I believe, is doing an escort for them. So I believe it's this Wednesday, tomorrow. Yes. Yes. There's nothing really going on at Woodrow Wilson so far. No updates. Everything's going perfectly fine. The cafeteria is fine as well. Everything's calm and quiet. So that's all.
Rules for public comment. The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at its meetings. This public comment period is your time to be heard on the agenda items in this meeting. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. You will be notified when your 3 minutes are up. You cannot yield your time to another person. When it is your turn to speak, please remain at the podium and address all of your comments to the board president or the superintendent. Please conduct yourself in a respectful and courteous manner. For anyone whose comments or actions either harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. Also, if you curse, use vulgar language, or make personal attacks, we will provide you with a warning or end your comment time. We will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes of comments. Members of the audience should also not interrupt the speaker at the podium. If you have any questions, please ask your questions during your 3-minute comment period. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or his designee will address your questions to the extent provided by law. Thank you for your understanding. First commenter is Gary Frazier.
Good evening. So, I know we missed our school board meeting last month, and I know that you guys are aware that some changes have took place in the state as of this month. My first question to this board, and I'm sure you guys are going to hold to answer the questions until after the end, but my first question is, what are the procedures for those students whose parents decide to opt their children out of the Park standardized test? That would be one of my first questions. Second question is, what are we doing about the deadline date for those students who may be eligible for the scholarships? We have a deadline date, and I'm sure you guys haven't received anything from anyone in regards to what happens to those scholarships. And now on to the real business of why I'm here tonight. 184 districts, 1 regional high school, serving 2 districts have refusal procedures in place for park. I want to understand why our district is even moving forward with park when we're not prepared to take part. Also, I'm sure you guys are well aware that we won Assembly Bill A4190, which we won that unanimously, which states that there were 63 yes, 7 abstain, and 7 no's, which basically states that it freezes the use of the Park High State Standardized Test for 3 years to enable this experimental test to be proven effective before it is used to evaluate our children. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but I don't understand why park is being administered around our city. So I'm here because we were part of the people who took place in helping with this park thing. So I'm here to put this district on notice. So I will read to you as follows. Camden City School District does not have permission to compel our children to take any state district standardized test or assessment. In this case, we speak in reference to park. Any assessment will be properly scored as a refusal, and it will be considered invalid and should not be included in the participation rate. Any attempt by this district to otherwise code, score, or to deviate from these instructions will constitute a due process violation of our governmental procedure. Furthermore, during the administration of any and all makeup tests, our children will continue to receive an appropriate public education in their regular classroom environment with their regular classmates. You are hereby on notice that any state agent who ignores any parental instruction and who compels, harasses, intimidates, or otherwise forces any minor child or attempts the same in any way to participate in any standardized test or assessment, and who takes any action that causes a child emotional, physical, psychological harm against these expression instructions will be held in violation of federal and state law and common law.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Your time is up.
Thank you. So I don't understand why we're administering the test.
Number 2, Monique Ragsdale. Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Your time is up. Number 2, Monique Ragsdale.
You guys have not given our parents formal notice on what's happening with the park test. And we want this raised out of the district. This is not an option for our children to take this test right now. They shouldn't be taking this test right now. When you guys may have the proper thing in place for them to take the test. So you guys want notice. And we'll be going around this district.
Good afternoon. My name is Monique Ragsdale. As one of the organizers for Save Our Schools, I also concur with Gary Fraser about the A4190 that was just passed recently, and I was one of the parents who did opted out. And thanks to my son's school, I did get a letter and a call to say that my son would not partake in the test and he will continue with his daily activities. And Mrs. Artwell, I'm glad that you did get a chance to go to that conference. No Child Left Behind bill was one of the deregulations of the deformed bills that I totally never agreed with. And I hope you guys continue to keep getting educated on that because I'm in it all day, every day. I go in and I fight for legislation. I'm also the founder of Save Camden Schools. One of the 3 issues that I had this week, when those cold weather degrees, I know you realize Camden High heat was out. I did not send my son to school. I also was the one who provided the number for the parents who called. We have babies in that school. Some of those students have babies there. You should not send kids. We should always think of student safety first, no matter what we do and in everything we do. I also wanted to bring up I'm also in the Camden High's Proud Parent thing. I looked in your superintendent. We had submitted a whole bunch of activities that we're going to be doing at the school. I haven't seen anything in it. I don't know if that was an oversight. I know Ms. Donna's not here, but I work very closely with Donna. I didn't see any of that in any of these agendas and superintendent report. Also, maybe now you should consider what to do with the children who opt out. I know a couple of parents called me, they had some issues. I had a standardized letter that I did give some parents, but I know some of them didn't get that letter, and they said they had some issues with, you know, the teacher saying maybe things that they didn't know about. So maybe you guys should become more informed what's going on our state level so that you can bring that down. When y'all did these meetings, at these same meetings, we were up in State Trenton doing testimony on the park testing and assessment. That is something that's very informative that we should know about. We should be using this crucial time to work on reform. I'm very disappointed that our district opted to go do that first when we should be worrying about reform with our kids. Our education is first. This test is an experiment. We're not going to be testing to teach. We need to start learning, getting these kids some real activities, some real things, some research projects. I don't care. We have to start stepping up to the plate. I'm going to start holding you guys accountable because enough is enough. I came to these very same public schools. I'm a proud public school student, and I want my child to get the same fairness. And I'm going to tell you something. When we was in elementary, we couldn't wait to go to Camden High and Woodrow Wilson. This stuff y'all doing now, y'all is dividing and killing this community. We need to stop this, seriously.
Number 3, Kevin Waters.
Good evening. I'm here today to speak about the article that was written a couple of weeks ago, I believe, with Alicia Figueroa. This is not about Alicia Figueroa per se. However, I'm here tonight to kind of, you didn't check in with the class, you checked in with the class of 2014, and what you said, Mr. Hanaford, was that they were unprepared for the rigors of college, but you did not check in with the class. Well, you either paraphrased, or I'm not sure how it was phrased, but you made mention to the fact that our students need to be more prepared for the rigors of college. Okay. However, you didn't check in with the class of 2013, which included my nephew, who was the #1 rated student in Woodrow Wilson when he graduated. He is also a current sophomore at Rutgers University in New Brunswick. Okay, so that's a pretty good deal, right? Camden student, Woodrow Wilson High School, not too bad. All right, in the article supported the perception that Camden City students, I'm talking about us and Camden High, the comprehensive high schools, are routinely underprepared for the rigors of college. Not so. Fact, most high school graduates are going to have a natural adjustment to the college setting, which you, Mr. Rahanford, referenced Alicia's adjustment period. That is not just for Alicia, but this is a time for Camden regular high school graduates as well as comparable high school students entering, the college experience. Would you not agree that that would be the case for most college students? I mean, most incoming freshmen. Now, my nephew, when I spoke with him, he said that in order for you to be a great high school student and a great college student, you need to be intentional about your study. That's my nephew. It's not me. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. Okay, because I think that there was a mention about the rigor and not be prepared. However, he mentioned to me that he came into a class with students who came from prestigious high schools, Hun. We've all heard of Hun. Some of those are in his classroom who were also struggling. We know it costs about $40,000 to go to Hun. So he's in there, he didn't pay not a dime to go to high school, and he's on the same par with a Hun student, but he came from the Camden City public school system. So I just want you to continue to upgrade, don't denigrate our high school students. Don't paraphrase, don't create perceptions on the outside that our students are unprepared for the rigors of college. Because as I've been coming here to say, my nephew was not only prepared, he was quite prepared. Okay, so he's still hanging in there, as a matter of fact. He further states that he was, and is still, I just said that, prepared for the rigors of college. And he continued again by saying, I just said that, but he says that in order for you to promote Camden as a non-failing school district, you got to promote that which we need to have in the way of our students, because I think that what happens is that when you promote a narrative, the narrative gets followed out not just in Camden, but it'll create a mastery, it'll create a all these different charter schools, right. But so what you need to do is create an atmosphere for producing great narratives, because I have two examples.
Thank you, Mr. Waters. Your time is up. Number 4, Darlene Holmes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here to represent Mastery Charter School. Of course, my name is Darlene. My daughter here is Ariana Clark. She's a first grader at Mastery in Kramer Hill. This is just a bit of my experience. I had the pleasure of meeting Ms. Turner. She's the principal of Mastery Charter School while at soccer practice with Ariana. I was kind of skeptical of enrolling her there because it was a brand new school and I didn't know anything about it. But Mrs. Turner, she quickly changed my mind because I was getting frequent calls and home visits from her, and she's given me more information about Mastery. Ariana's father and I knew that kindergarten would be too easy for her, and we asked Ms. Turner about the possibility of Ariana skipping kindergarten. She told me that if we felt as though Ariana was past the kindergarten level, then there shouldn't be an issue of her being tested in order to move up. When I brought that up with the other schools, I was shut down immediately because of her birthday being after the October 1st cutoff date. I explained to them that I felt she wouldn't be challenged in kindergarten, and of course they shut me down because she was too young. Ariana started her school year as a kindergartner, but moved up to first grade in October after being given a chance to prove that she was that she was on a first grade level. Okay. At the end of the first marking period, Ariana was on 82 sight words, and now at the end of the second marking period, she's on 189 sight words, which is way over the 105 sight word level for a first grader. Thank you. She's already on an I reading level, where the target reading level for the end of first grade is J. And I feel that she's learning so much at Mastery, and she's really being challenged. And I'm very pleased with everything about from Mrs. Turner greeting the children every morning at the beginning of school, the communication from the teachers, and the early mornings and the late hours of the after-school program comes in handy. I just want the best education for Ariana, and I feel as though Mastery is exceeding all of our expectations. With that being said, I hope Mastery decides to go up to the 12th grade so that Ariana can continue her education with Mastery until she graduates. Thank you.
Number 5, Sherelle Sharp.
Good evening, all. My name is Sherelle Sharp, and I'm the parent of Trinity, who's a 5th grader at Mastery in North Camden. I first learned of the school through a neighbor, and I was skeptical, but I gave it a try. A little background on Trinity. Trinity never liked school. You had to fight with her every morning to wake up. Since attending Mastery, only since October, she beats me up in the morning. She wakes me up excited to go to school. Any other school she went to, she struggled all her years. I've had her tested. No, she's fine, she's fine. Go to Mastery, they're taking the time out to help my child. I am a product of the Camden school system, and I'm not proud of it anymore. They are failing our children right now. They are failing our children. I visited several public schools, and I've actually heard the teachers myself tell children, oh, you want to act like that? That's on you. I got my education. It's time for you to get yours. At the end of the day, I still get paid. I've heard it. I've heard it. I've heard it. I'm not here to name schools. I'm just here to share my experience. And what I think Camden needs is better schools. Those things said to children, you're supposed to uplift a child, not put them down. You know, our community has really lost the concept of it takes a village. You know, it takes a village. That means community, church, school, all of that. I know church is not included in the board and all that anymore. However, it takes that concept to raise your children, to prepare them to be successful in life. And Mastery has given that to me. They have brought that back to me. So I just urge you, better schools in Camden. We need them. We want them. You know, we've demonstrated earlier, we need Camden, better schools, better education for Camden City schools. That's all I have to say.
Number 6, Brian Morton.
Brian Morton, 113 State Street, Camden, New Jersey. I'm also the executive director of a new organization called Parents for Great Camden Schools. And so I'd like to give a shout out to Mastery for so many parents and students coming out and fight and getting involved in a fight. You know, so as a parent, you know, I have a 5-year-old that attends Kip Cooper Norcross. And me and my wife struggled, and I've shared this on a number of occasions, with where we were going to place our daughter. Camden City was not an option. We saw the school choice voucher. We were looking at Haddon Heights. We were looking at Cherry Hill. We were looking if we had to come out of pocket to pay. And then ultimately, we had a conversation with the school leader from the KIPP school. And they talked to us about challenging curriculum. And they talked to us about the longer school days. And they talked to us about the opportunity under the Urban Hope Act. So shout out to Assemblyman Whip Wilson, Ms. Wilson, for being brave and fighting for that legislation. Because that legislation actually provides us with a toolkit to tackle the problems that we know are real in our schools. And no one is here tonight to point fingers at individuals, you know, to say this teacher or that principal or this entity. We're here tonight, or I'm here tonight, to say that, you know what, there is real change happening in the Camden City School District. And part of that change is happening under the watch of this advisory board, who fought for the Renaissance opportunity, right? And so as a parent who once was ready to move out of the city, once was ready to pack up after 43 years being rooted, living in the same house he was born in, we were gone. We were out of North Camden, and all the work that I do there, it didn't matter. It was now about my child individually, and we were leaving. And now we look up, and Ms. Sharp, to your point, right? My daughter went through ECDC, which is our early childhood center, and she arrived at KIPP as a pre-reader. She could not read and recognize all 26 letters of the alphabet. She couldn't do some of the other skills that were involved in that. So since going in to the program, right, not only has my daughter been able to improve as a student, but me and my wife have been able to improve with regards to being able to educate her and assist her at home. So it's a whole, back to your point, right? We leave our homes in the morning and we go to a schoolhouse, just like we attend a house of worship. So it is a village. And so I just want to say, as a parent and as a leader of an organization that's fighting for better, high-quality schools, more seats available, not just through Renaissance, but all of our schools should be great. Right?
Thank you, Mr. Morton. Mary Jane Tindy. Mary Jane Timby.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Mary Jane Timbe. I was born and raised in Camden. I went to Molina, Pine Point, and Camden High School. I moved away some years, came back. We actually live in the same home that I grew up in. Last year, my daughters attended the public school in North Camden, and honestly, we were not happy. This year, my 3 youngest daughters attend the Mastery North Camden School, and my oldest at Woodrow Wilson. For my children, Mastery has been a breath of fresh air. Eli J., my 5th grader, has some tough issues that we are dealing with on a daily basis. This good news is that Mastery School has been very helpful and very professional in coping with her outbursts, her defiance, and sometimes loss of control. There has been great communication with the staff of Mastery. Both the good and bad news of Eli James' progress has always been attainable for me. No doubt about that. They have surpassed my expectations with how they have handled Eli James' condition, and I've only seen professionalism in their use of strategies and tools in any situation has always been a plus for me. My 2 youngest are being academically challenged every day. I can't believe how much my daughters have improved and shown growth in their academics. A big difference from a year ago. Mastery is different. Mastery teachers are great, and they know how to work with all kids. We want change. We want great schools. As parents, we want to have choices, good choices. That's why I'm thrilled that the district has started a partnership with Mastery to build a new Renaissance school. I'm over the moon and excited that the city approved the East State Street and River Avenue site for a new K-8 Mastery school. I was one of the parents who went to the CRA to testify and ask for their approval. We applaud of what you're doing. Our only request is that you do even more. Create more neighborhood schools, more Renaissance schools, more Mastery schools. We want our kids to be able to go through kindergarten through the 12th grade in Mastery schools because it works. It's worked for me and it's worked for my family. This is the most hopeful I've been about Camden, about my children's future, about them going to college. This is going to transform their lives and the future of our families and hundreds more. Thank you for your leadership, your vision, and your support.
Number 8, Kayada Makins. Number 8, Kayada Makins. Number 9, Kevin Barfield.
Good evening. First, I'd like to make a comment in reference to the forum, and I would ask that the superintendent rethink on how you're doing this public portion, because again, you have the superintendent report, and then you have other issues, and it's not fair to parents that we don't have enough time to address all the issues. First question I would ask is, how do I get a copy of the 5-year facility report? A copy of I see on your superintendent report on page 11, letter B, about the CUSAC report, whatever information, assurances, and things that you submitted to the state that needs to be addressed. And I would think that because that information should have been presented to the public first before you submitted that's something that needs to be brought to the community. So I would like to know how I get a copy of that. The other thing is, in reference to, can you clarify too, the resolution on page 29 that talks about the Camden School District to advertise and purchase a competitive contract for the service of literacy program for grades 9 to 10 district-wide for the school year. But then it says, in the writing, it says core curriculum, a common core alignment with math supplements for grades K to 8. 1 minute you're saying literacy, then the next minute you're saying it's contradicting you. So can you clarify that? The other thing is, as chairperson of the wellness policy, Airmark is attending our meetings. So one of our concerns that I know that is kind of a concern for the parents, it would need someone from your staff to be able to sit down and talk about something that that I think the district will have to resolve. So I would ask you if you can have a person attend our next wellness committee, I think it's March 10th, so we can try to clarify that issue. And Airmark is working on us with some of the issues that that's concerning, so we can implement our wellness policy through our school. And what's that? And then again, I would like also to commend the youth-based service also, because I know, especially since they started the family school at Hatch, there has been a lot of programs that are geared to family activities that, even though sometimes my boys did not want to attend, but it gave a sense of being involved in your school, in the community after hours. So students can see that school is not just about going to school during school hours, but supporting and having activities and being together as a community. So I can support that in itself. And then again, in reference to what we're talking about in reference to this park piece, again, that the park and these assessments, I'm seeing that, like some of the teachers are saying that, they're not actually being able to prepare these students for this test because they haven't had the computers to be able to help do some test runs in the classroom. So you're going to have students who don't have
Number 10, Kiamara Betancourt. Kiamara Betancourt. Number 11, Aravia Higgins.
Good evening. My name is Aravia Higgins, and I'm with Parents for Great Camden Schools. My question is, I've recently come back to the city, but my children are not in the city because I don't like the school system. Is there anything you can do to ensure me that schools will get graded, or any other options? That's all I have for tonight.
Typically respond to all the questions after the end of public commentary, so I'll get to it at the very end. Thank you.
Number 12, Tamia Ingalls. Tamia Ingalls. Number 13, Rosanna Parston. Rosanna Parston. Number 14, Ulysses Delgado.
Good afternoon. My name is Ulysses Delgado, community activist in Camden. I got some good news for Camden. My nephew is Ron Logan, New England Patriots. They won the Super Bowl. My niece was born in Camden, and her husband was born in Camden, and he was working at the prosecutor's office. He retired. He'll be coming to the school system to talk. I talked to him the other day. I want to inform the residents of East Camden that the principal from Woodrow Wilson is doing an outstanding job out there. There's a lot of our Latino kids that's affected. This district right here, a lot of them can't even learn how to read and write. These teachers, a lot of these teachers do not know how to educate urban city kids. They know how to educate outsider kids from the suburbs. These teachers, our students are having a lot of problems. A lot of our kids in the city of Camden right here, kids are having kids. A lot of their parents are in drugs. They're having all kinds of problems in their houses and all this stuff. And a lot of these teachers want to force the way they act towards our kids, they're not learning. And these teachers who doesn't really know how to educate our kids in the city of Camden, They should be fired. It's a shame that the kids in Woodrow Wilson, a lot of them from 9 to 11, can't even read and write, in special ed kids. And I want them fired. I'm going to let the public know that the residents of East Camden nominated the principal for an outstanding job that he's been doing for the last couple of years he's been in here. There's been a lot of corruption in the school system for the last years in here. I want to give you that recognition that you earned. Continue to do the good work. And Mr. Miles, he's doing an outstanding job in Woodrow Wilson High School. I want to give him recognition. I'm tired of this biggery coming back and forth. Who's better? What school's better? We're all here to educate our kids. I don't care what schools they go to, but I want my kids to learn. I have 3 kids that my son adopted. They were having problems at Woodrow Wilson High School. They told me, Grandpa, I want to leave Wilson. I want to go to the suburbs. And all of a sudden, they brought Mr. Mark Miles in there. They want to stay there. They're learning a lot in that school district in here. But the principal, Mr. Superintendent, these teachers ain't doing a good job to our kids. Get rid of them. I don't need them in Camden. I'm the highest taxpayer in the city of Camden right here. We deserve better than this, what we've been getting for all these years in the city of school right here. You got my support.
Number 15, Joyce Carter.
Is it on? I'm a little late coming in because I'm always coming from another meeting, but I have messages for you. And folks, don't fool yourselves with the suburbs. My son was supposed to go to Easter, and I brought him here to go to Camden High, and he got an excellent education. So please don't fool yourself, because students of color have problems out there, and I can tell you about it. The meeting I just left, there were parents there, and they want to let you know that there are parents that work in Camden when you had a meeting at 11 o'clock at Woodrow Wilson. That was a couple weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Also, I was at the movie Selma, and I remember when Malcolm X came out, we took everybody in the district. What happened here? Because I don't see too many things on here concerning African American History Month. And they had a forum. And I am so darn embarrassed because I'm hearing this time and time again that Camden is a plantation. Then we had 2 people there that told the commentator, and she announced it was over 1,000 people in that movie, that the Board of Education Advisory Board was getting rid of African American studies. Come on, we worked hard and fought for that years ago. And we opened up the door for a whole lot of folks sitting up there, okay? And I do not think that is right. And I believe that some of these students should have gone to see that movie. Also, part of Black History Month, you should have had them to go up to the Schonenberg Center. When I was in working, we had students, the principal took them there. And if you don't know who Schonenberg was, he was a Puerto Rican of African descent, because they told him in Puerto Rico black folks didn't do anything. And it's up in Harlem. Also, I'm concerned about, and the person, they had a speaker there that they were passing the mic around the audience. Camden was supposed to vote for their own Board of Education. It was supposed to have been on the ballot, and your mayor left it off. That's right. Get real, folks. Wake up. That's right. Also, I want to, and I've been saying this time and time again, all right, you brought these schools in using public buildings. I pay taxes here, okay? And I want to say this here, a lot of those people that came in with you, Paymon, and those that got hired, were they fingerprinted? No. But you had some teachers that received a notice that were in the district for 25 and 30 years, they had to go get fingerprinted. Folks, there's a law out. You come into the district to teach, or I don't care where you're at.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Your
You
time
are
is up.
supposed to be fingerprinted. You don't know who your child has teaching them. And make sure that those teachers in mastery are certified. Because a lot of them
Number 16, Mangaliso Davis.
start holding your meetings when people are able to come, not every day to come. Because I know most of the mayor's people were there, I was told. The parents were talking about that at OEO tonight. And they do not like it.
Mangaliso Davis. It's great to be black again. And I also like to say, in commemoration of Black History Month, Black Life Matters. Black Life Matters. That is the quote of the day. Let me do this a little more better than the last time I was here. Madam Chair, Superintendent, and Solicitor, through the chair. First, I'd like to get a copy of all those new hirees of background checks and fingerprint. And I also like to point out on the Common Core, there is an opt-out form. You do not have to do this. If you do not want to do it, that their meeting you had at Woodrow Wilson told my niece she wanted to opt out, they told her she couldn't because the governor wants them to take the test. And in the papers, he said he had a problem with that test. And they got a bill sailing through to stop it. So that assistant deputy superintendent, he better be better informed because the governor works for the people. That's the fourth branch of government for those who don't get civic in the school system anymore. Also, Mr. Paymar, the governor came down here and gave $50 million for Camden High School. Where is the other $60 million? The price tag for that school was $110 million. That's when the governor came in and he stopped it. We want that money. You cannot rebuild Camden High with $50 million. And I told the board 3 years ago, if you didn't put your order in, the $5 billion is gone. And the educational law center talking about they want to see a punch list on who got the money. The same people that took and got that money before got it again. And this only was supposed to be for avid districts. Avid districts. So our pockets have been picked again. Now, Cream School, now I understand that you didn't have a qualified boiler man in there. You're supposed to have people in those buildings at night, especially in the winter, then you won't have the water damage. You don't have no more money because that money out of the $5 million to upgrade these schools in the Abbott district is gone. The big fish got those. The big politicians in North Jersey got that money. We got mugged again. This is twice $5 million don't come. That's $10 billion that have been stolen and we still don't even got all our schools. They're supposed to be upgraded and everything. And it's one more thing here I wanted to bring. Oh, the last time I was here.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Your time is up.
Yeah, I'm in closing. I think closing. It was said that Mr. Davis disrespected a woman. I did not disrespect a woman. I was said to the chair. I addressed the chair through the chair to Mr. Paymar about my issue that I brought up. This is where you bring your grievances, not on Haddon Avenue. And the people that said that I disrespect women do not know who I am.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Your time is up.
And thank you. And I'd like to know about those background checks.
Okay. Number 17, Kelly Francis.
Good evening, Superintendent, board members, Kelly Francis. I have a very simple question. I'd like to know what was the budget for the new landing, well, actually the old Landing Square School. It's now the Kip Cooper Norcross Academy. What was budgeted for the construction of that particular school? I haven't seen anything in print as to how much money was appropriated. So I'd like to know what that cost is going to be. Secondly, I'm concerned about these new schools that are being established in our city. All of the cities that I'm aware of, the citizens or the appropriate people name the schools. Now, why do we have schools named Mastery, KIP, Uncommon? Who are these folks? What have they ever done for the city of Camden? And why are our schools, our public schools, being named after these entities that nobody knows anything about and have not made any contributions to the city of Camden? We have people who have come through the city of Camden over the years who have done outstanding work and made outstanding contributions to the city. And if anybody is to be honored with the naming of a school, it should be those individuals that have given honor to the city, have given their lives and a lot of the dedication to the city of Camden. All other school districts, their schools are named after people that they want to see named after, not these entities that we know nothing about. So I think the board, the advisory board should take that in consideration and make your voices heard. And also, this advisory board, I know you don't have much power or authority, but there's one thing you can do. You can keep track of our high school graduates, where they go to college, when they graduate. All of the students that I work with, I know exactly where they are. I know when they graduate. And as many graduations as I'm possible for me to attend. I attended several last year. I'm going to attend graduation this year of our, from our comprehensive high school, public schools. And this board should be keeping track of our students. If everybody else wants to talk about the students from their schools and what they're doing, we should do the same thing. Because we have a lot of our students who are going on to higher education and are coming back, a lot of them are coming back and going on into their professional lives. So we should champion those students. I was at a play last night.
Thank you, Mr. Francis.
Raising
Your time
the
is up.
Sun, and two of my actual students are performing in that play, directed by Arthur Taylor.
Martha, Ms. Wilson, do you have presentation?
At this time, we would like to entertain a final presentation for the post-public comments. That would be United Neighbors of Whitman Park and Can Do. Would you please come forward at this time?
Ali Sloan Hill, 1317 Sheridan Street. I would like to first, to the superintendent, to the president, vice president, and to the board, advisory board members, and to you, the public. We would like to just recognize some of you. We embarked on a mission, and let me go back in the 1980s when you had Gordon Sunkett, was a member of this board, was the president, the late Rosemary Jackson, and Dwayne Williams on that board. We put together with Gordon, walked the streets, guys were selling drugs in the street, drug dealing, crime, And Gordon went around and showed me how the young people need us. They needed us. So me in the corrections, as a correction officer, and Gordon in the prosecutor's office, we all had weapons at that time. Interesting with us with weapons. And we came and put the midnight basketball back at Camden High. And we had 10 teams. It was a great, great program where we counseled them on housing. Some of them didn't have housing. They went from prison right to the street. They didn't have no jobs. They didn't have no one to talk to them but the same crew that put them there. And it's a vicious cycle. They went back and forth. So in my efforts, coming from the institution, coming from prison, I sat there and said that we need to do something for these young people because it was us in jail. Majority of us were minorities in jail. So I came out, got together with these young men in Whitman Park, and they started the summer softball Peace on the Street at Stanley Park. We had the mayor's support. We had Miss Blackshear coming out. She came out in chairs. Miss Burley was there. Minister Wasim was one of our sponsors. So we did that. They did that. They needed me to advise. That's all I'm here for, to show them how to go in and out the door. Now, from that point, they went from the summer softball league, crime dropped. We're going to give credit to the Metro, but we also going to give credit to these guys because while they were playing softball, 10 teams, ain't nobody get shot. Nobody got murdered. Then we went from that to create the midnight basketball with the mayor, with Ms. Henson, with the superintendent, with the president, and our main supporter was Minister Wasim, with Cure Violence, Peace on the Street. I'm going to finish talking and turn it over to Mr. Ways. He's a part of United Neighbors. He runs his own organization, Can Do, Incorporated, nonprofit. That's what I've told them they have to do in order to compete in this world here in Camden City. So I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to give you some information and he's going to do the presentation.
Hello, I'm Anthony Ways of Can Do. I really just want to take the opportunity to thank the superintendent, the president of the advisory board, the vice president, and Wasim Muhammad. We'd like to thank the rest of the board and their support. I would like to read the plaque. It says, Can Do and the citizens of Camden City extend their appreciation for your efforts, support, and awareness for their well-being and projects. In 2015, Cure for Camden, Peace on the Street, and the Midnight Basketball League. So again, the opportunity that y'all allowed us to have by using the gyms in the schools, allow the people to come off the streets and have an opportunity to communicate, as opposed to resolving their issues through violence or whatever means they was using before. The basketball giving them the opportunity to talk and communicate and come to an understanding where there was misunderstandings. So we'd like to thank you for the opportunity that y'all gave us to do this and acknowledge y'all for your participation. Thank you.
in closing, let me say that we started October the 23rd, we ended February the 22nd. It was from Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 6 to 11. We appreciate the advisory board. We appreciate the superintendent. We appreciate the mayor, Dana Reds. We appreciate Cure Violence with Center for Family Services. We appreciate Kevin Schaefer and Mark Phillips. This is from Camden High. We gave the principal from Morgan Village, because the beginning of the year we were at Camden, and when their basketball season started, we went to Creative Arts Morgan Village. So we also honored them at the championship game, which Centerville won the championship over North Camden. But we had 10 teams, so we appreciate y'all. It wouldn't have happened without y'all. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to make final comments here in closing in response to some of the questions and comments made. I see that some of our families are leaving, and I know we've got some young people here, so this is now the end of the meeting. Thank you all for coming, for those of you that are exiting, and especially for the young kids. Obviously, we have school tomorrow. So I want to just begin by the comments that were made about parks, specifically Mr. Frazier, Ms. Ragsdale, and a couple other folks. So the state, as I think some people know, has not issued any formal policies for opting out. It is state law for all students to take the test. It is a test that has created a lot of anxieties, and we have attempted to be very sensitive to that. At the same time, it is an annual test, just like there have been annual tests in Camden for a very, very, very long time, and throughout the rest of the state for that matter. So where families have come to us with a request to opt out, we have handled them on a case-by-case basis. And what I'll tell you all is to please submit your requests to the principal. We have had only very few requests to date, and the principals have been able to handle them amicably at the school level. The bill that was raised by you, Mr. Frazier, you're right, it did pass the assembly. I just want to clarify for everyone here, that bill was about delaying the effect, amongst other things, of testing in the teacher evaluation process. It would, even if the bill were to pass the other chamber, it's only passed one chamber, and if it gets the governor's signature, it would not eliminate the park test. The park test would continue to move forward. And the other thing I want to make clear to everyone here, as far as park's impact on teacher evaluation, it is only for teachers that teach in grades 3 through 8, that teach either math or literacy, and that have at least 20 students in their class. That is fewer than 10% of our teachers. So there's a lot of noise out there about park as part of the teacher evaluation process, but at the end of the day, it is a very minimal effect. And so I just want to make that as clear as possible. As far as some other comments, Mr. Frazier, you made deadline for scholarships. We continually share out any and all updates on scholarships. I've personally written recommendation letters for students who have applied for scholarships, and where you don't think we're getting that information out in as clear of a way as we can, please let us know. Ms. Ragsdale, you mentioned, I don't know if she's still here. Okay, you'll relay this to her. Look, and for everybody here, Camden High, she raised the issue about the heating there. As soon as the boiler went down, we fixed it very quickly. The problem is it takes a long time to then reheat the building, and that's the challenge that we had. And as far as everything that we're doing to respond to it, we actually had an early dismissal last week. So we know that it was cold in the building. That was the day that she chose to keep her son at home, and we had an early dismissal at 1 o'clock. We don't want to dismiss our students early for the obvious reasons, but we do try to act where we can. And this is just a structural shortcoming of our district, and we're trying to address it through new facility funds. Mr. Waters, you commented on, I believe you were commenting on the op-ed that I wrote where I mentioned Alicia Figueroa. For those of you that don't know Alicia, she was on our student advisory board last year. She graduated. She's a first-year student at Rutgers. I think that you and I are basically agreeing on the same basic facts, but we have different takeaways. You're saying that Alicia is in college and has persevered, therefore all students in Camden have the ability to be successful and are therefore successful and are persevering. My takeaway is that Alicia has persevered, not enough students have her story. And that's the reality of it right now. Alicia is one of a handful of kids that is still enrolled in college, that is getting by. She's struggling. And she told me herself in an email that she was unprepared when she arrived. Those are her words, and I shared her words through that op-ed. But I do think we agree on the same common facts. We have some exceptional students here, and we acknowledge those students at every turn, and that's the reason I wrote that op-ed, because her story is remarkable, and I think in many respects it is the story of Camden. I haven't met your nephew. I hear you. I hear you. So, Mr. Ross, I just want to make sure to get to everyone else, because there's some kids here that are waiting for and parents to go home. We can take this conversation offline, but I just want to acknowledge why we wrote that, and that those were her words and not mine. Understood. Mr. Barfield, you mentioned a number of reports that you would like to see, and we will respond to them. Specifically with CUSAC, it is actually not a public document until it is approved. It then goes to the states. This is a long process, and we will have a conversation about it, and we can certainly reach out to you and set up some time to go through it in some more detail. The 5-year facility report, we can get that over to you as well. The item that you mentioned on the board report, item 29, this is an RFP for professional development and resources for us to invest in literacy support intervention for Camden High and Woodrow Wilson. If you have any other specific questions, we can take that offline. I think there is a separate one for K-8. I think maybe we're just referring to different items. Either way, it is professional development to intervene and support students and to provide differentiated instruction. It's personalized learning. That's the professional development. And we can get into the nitty-gritty of that offline. You mentioned about an Aramark meeting that you're regularly part of. We'd be happy to send a district representative to that meeting. Just please share with us when that meeting is, and we'll respond. Mr. Arabia Higgins asked a very broad, big, and important question of what we're doing to improve all of our schools. I cannot sufficiently answer that in just a few short minutes here, but if you come to our meetings regularly, and hopefully Ms. Higgins will going forward, she'll see that we're taking multiple approaches. It begins with our strategic plan and the efforts to improve all of our schools, but it is a focus on all students, not just students in district schools. There's a focus on all students, and you heard certainly from a lot of our Renaissance school families today that are pleased with mastery. Ms. Carter, you began by commenting on African American Black History Month and some African American programming that you felt is no longer in the school district. And I think this is maybe an area where we may agree to disagree, but I began the program today by acknowledging a couple of events for Black History Month that have already taken place and a couple that are still coming in the next few days. I've attended a couple. I will attend the one on Friday at Creative Arts Morgan Village. And it's something that we cherish. This is an important month. It's something that a lot of our teachers are spending a lot of time discussing with our students and families. So I don't think we are neglecting in our obligation to have that conversation. Understood. Understood. Mr. Davis, you had a number of different items here. The criminal history background check, it's something we take very, very seriously. And we have a policy, it begins in the Division of Town and Labor Relations, as far as a procedure to ensure that all new hires and volunteers who come in regular contact with pupils get fingerprinted for their criminal background checks. I went through that process when I was being onboarded. We take it very, very seriously. You mentioned the $50 million that the governor committed to, and where's the rest of it? And you're right that several years ago, I think this is now close to 10 years ago, there was a larger commitment for Camden High School. It was north of $100 million. It was north of $100 million. Now, I stated at the time of the announcement that there were some broken promises in Camden. I wasn't around for them, but I've heard the stories, and it's important for me to study the history of this city. And there were some broken promises. We fought really hard to get the resources for Camden High. What I can tell you is the commitment, and this is in the fine writing, it's at least $50 million, not $50 million, the minimum. That's the floor. The ceiling, we don't know. I think it'll actually approach north of 60, 70, 80, maybe even 90. So we're going to fight to get those students the resources and the building that they deserve. So I just want you to know that 50 is not a ceiling, it is a floor.
Is
we will spend more than $50 million. I'm going to leave it at that. Mr. Francis, the last comment I'm going to respond to, the budget for the new facility at Kid Cooper Norcross, we don't have that specific number, but we will reach out and ask them. No one on our team knows specifically what they're spending. I'm sure that we could reach out and get a response for you, so we can follow up with you. If there was, I do not know it off the top of my head right now. So I'm committing to you that we will follow up and share that information with you. Okay? You, as far as championing our students, you made a comment about that. I just want to make very, very clear that that is something we take very seriously. We do champion our students. And I know you've been to some of our board meetings, and I hope you can see as much in my introductory comments. We acknowledge the students who are winning awards, and whether it's academic or athletic, what have you. And that is a very, very important part of our role here as administration and as advisory board members. So I just wanted to quickly respond to that point. Thank you.
And Mr. Francis, I would like to say thank you for all your years of dedication, as well as taking our kids out of the state of New Jersey and basically championing for them in a different events that you do take them on. So I would like to thank you. This board would like to thank you very much. Thank you.
The last very quick thing here, the SBA is adding one last business item, which I have approved, and I just want to make sure that it is read out loud.
Right, it's agenda item 11, so we're extending the business office agenda items from 1 to 10 to 1 to 11, and it's for the authorization of the Camden City School District to accept the proposal from Scholastic for the literacy program for grades 9 through 10. Copies will be available at the table at the front desk.
Mr. Mohammed, it looks like you've got one last comment. It takes us a couple seconds.
Yes, one last comment. We want to thank United Neighbors of Whitman Park and the Can Do organization for the wonderful plaque that they gave to the members that was a part of the midnight basketball. But I would like to acknowledge two more people that they left out that was very instrumental in this, and that is Councilman Brian Coleman, as well as Councilwoman Dana Burley, who helped out and made sure that we got to the facilities to do what we have to do, and was there and came by and supported. We want to thank them and thank those brothers for doing an upstanding job in the community. These are young people who were sometimes in the system, but they want to give back and they don't know how to give back, and they're doing a great job. And they're working with all young people within the community. We have to highlight some of the great things that they're doing. Thank you.
So I think we've got one more comment. Please go ahead.
I just wanted to say that as a board as a whole, I think we want to thank and appreciate all the families from all different educational entities and backgrounds and nationalities, et cetera, that came and public commented, and that we encourage you to continue to come out to the school board meetings held monthly, because we really need your input. And so we appreciate you guys for sacrificing your family time to come out here.
Okay, so I believe those are our final comments. Thank you all for coming out. And let me just second, thank you all the families, Mastery and all the other families who came out tonight. We truly appreciate everyone who's taken the time to be here. Appreciate it.
All in favor say aye. All opposed? Meeting's closed.
You've been watching the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education. Join us next month for the regular monthly meeting of the Camden Advisory Board of Education.